Hi students. So in the last class we were learning about what do you mean by economic activities and what do you mean by non-economic activities. Now let us move ahead in the subject of economics. Economics has two branches. One is microeconomics and the another one is macroeconomics. Now what do you mean by micro? Micro means small. So microeconomics is that branch of economics which studies the behavior of individual units in the economy, how each person individually behaves in the economy. Okay, now when does a person behave under inflation, how does a person behave under deflation, so how individual units like you, me, xyz, etc., they behave under the effects of economy, they how do they behave is covered under microeconomics. And the branch of economy that studies the economy as a whole. When I study the effects of XYZ conditions on India as a whole, that comes under macroeconomics. And when I study the effects of XYZ on one person or one house or a society, that is known as microeconomics. Now, microeconomics studies issues related to individual person of the society. We take up the issues of individual person. What is the issue that person X is facing? What is the issue that person Y is facing? And individually we take up those issues. But in macroeconomics studies the issues which emerge out from entire economic setup. पूरी इकोनॉमी से जो इश्यूज आते हैं उसको हम स्टडी करते हैं और उन इश्यूज का हमारी इकोनॉमी में क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है वो भी हम स्टडी करेंगे. So we will study economic issues which come up from the entire economy and their impact on the entire economy. Okay, example of microeconomics मतलब individual demand. Me as an individual, what is my demand? If I am a firm, as a firm, what is my supply? So individual demand and supply are examples of microeconomics. And national demand, what is the demand of India as a whole? And what is the supply or output of India as a whole? That national demand and national supply comes under macroeconomics. Now let us study about the presentation of information or data in economics. In statistics, we have learned that what do you mean by data? The observations which we get from our sample size is data. Now, how do we represent data? There are three types of representing data. First is the descriptive manner, then the data tables, and then third by graphs or diagrams. So whenever the data is described in words or in paragraphs, that is called descriptive manner. Example, if I want to show or describe a relationship between price of a commodity and the demand. Okay, so if price is 50 rupees, the demand is 150 units. If price is 70, the demand is 100 units. And if price is 80, the demand is 50 units. So how will I describe it in words? So in words, I will say as price increases, demand decreases. So this is the form of data table. But when the same thing I write in words, it is known as descriptive manner, as it is written over here on the screen. When price of a commodity falls, its demand expands and vice versa. So it says when price is falling, the demand is increasing and vice versa. Clear? So this is descriptive manner. Now when the data is represented in a table format, normal table or frequency table as shown on the screen as well as on the board. Both of them are known as data tables, and the same thing which we wrote earlier in words has been described in the table. So there are many ways data can be represented. The third way how we can represent the data is by the way of graph. We have the data table, we can draw a graph for it. For example, if we want to draw a graph for this table, how will we draw? Here is demand or quantity and here I will draw price or the price of the product. Now if price is 50, my demand is 150 here. If price becomes 70, my demand becomes 100. And when price becomes 80, my demand becomes 50. So this is just an approximate graph. When I join all the 3 points, I get a negatively sloping line. And this, when I represent this table as a graph, this is known as representation of data in the form of diagram or graph. Is it clear? So same graph is now shown on the screen as well. Let's move ahead. Okay. Now, what is the importance of statistical information? Why do we need statistical information and why is it important? So first is it supports or confirms a principle. If my principle is that as price increases, demand decreases. So I need to support that principle. I have to prove that principle. So for proving that principle, I need statistical information. I need to do surveys. I can do direct inquiry, indirect inquiry via questionnaires, anything. But I need to have observations or data regarding it. So statistical information will confirm and support my principle. Second is it gives an idea about changing trends in economics. If you see graphs, if you see a graph showing the population trend of last 10 years of India, it shows us in last 10 years how population has been changing and increasing. So this statistical information gives an idea about changing trends. If the same thing I am writing in a paragraph, it is very difficult to get an idea about the trends. So if I present it on a graph, it is easier. The third is to make comparative study easy. Now, if I want to compare two things, so comparing two things is always easier by drawing a graph or a diagram rather than writing it in a descriptive manner. And the next and the last importance of statistical information is to make precise presentation of facts. If I have got facts, I can explain it. I can present it better by the way of graphs and diagrams. And if I present it by the way of paragraphs, it might get confusing and it might get difficult to understand as well. So clear, these are the statistical ways how we present our data and why is the statistical data very important to us. This we've studied in this class. Till then, bye, take care.